100 years ago this month, the largest single incident of racial violence in American history took place in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's a moment in America's history that's not talked about, but its impact has been felt far and wide.
And WGN's Tanya Francisco uncovered a Chicago connection to the place called Black Wall Street.
Tulsa, Oklahoma in the 1920s was on its way to becoming the self-described oil capital of the world. It was a booming cosmopolitan city, especially for African Americans. Former slaves who had been given land after the Civil War developed a section of the city called the Greenwood District. It would later become known as Black Wall Street.
As we think about the current Wall Street in New York City, that's not what this community was. This was a Black Main Street. This was a collection of sole proprietorships, mom and pop operations, movie theaters, dance halls, pool halls, grocery stores, restaurants, dry cleaners, hotels.
One of those hotels was owned by J.B. Stratford, the richest Black man in Tulsa. The Stratford Hotel was the largest Black-owned and operated hotel in Oklahoma and one of the few Black-owned hotels in America.
And it was very popular.
J.B.'s great-granddaughter, Laurel Stratford, a Chicagoan, has proudly kept the family history alive after her aunt gave her a picture of J.B. when she was only 9.
And I said, "Oh, this man looks like me." And she said, "No, Laurel, you look like him."
Whites living in Tulsa grew jealous of Black Wall Street's success. That, coupled with the feeling of white supremacy and land lust, made it a powder keg, just waiting to explode. The match was lit on May 30th, 1921, when Dick Rowland, a 19-year-old black shoeshine boy, entered an elevator operated by a young white girl.
Something happened on the elevator. We don't know exactly what, we never will. But it's likely that Dick Rowland brushed up against or bumped into or stepped on the foot of Sarah Page. She overreacted. She began to scream.
Page claimed she was raped. Rowland was arrested. The next day, a local newspaper ran a story that added fuel to the fire. Page later recanted, but it was too late. The white community was up in arms. Hearing talk of lynching, several dozen black men, some of them World War I veterans, marched to the courthouse with weapons in hand to protect Rowland. They were outnumbered by a white mob.
As you might imagine, words were exchanged between the larger white group and the smaller black group. A white man tried to take a black man's gun. The gun discharged, and according to some of the survivors, all hell broke loose after that.
There was looting, burning. Witnesses even reported machine gun fire and bombs being dropped from airplanes. The violence lasted 16 hours, and it was only quelled by the National Guard that was sent in from Oklahoma City. When the dust settled, as many as 300 people were dead, mostly black, several hundred were injured, and 35 city blocks were destroyed. More than 1,200 homes and hundreds of businesses laid in ruin.
Property damage conservatively estimated at the time was $1.5 to $2 million, and depending on how you translate it to present value, it's well into the double-digit millions today.
The Stratford Hotel was reduced to rubble. The violence was blamed on several black businessmen, including J.B. Stratford. They were arrested and charged with inciting the violence. But J.B.'s son, Cornelius Stratford, a lawyer who was living in Chicago, devised a plan to get him out of Tulsa.
My grandfather, his son, came from Chicago in a big, beautiful car. And he had a woman in the back seat with beautiful clothes. So he was pulled out of jail and got underneath the woman's skirt, and he brought him here.
J.B. Stratford died in 1935, but his legacy of success and entrepreneurship lived on. His son Cornelius, also known as C.F. Stratford, argued the landmark Hansberry versus Lee case before the Supreme Court in 1940. It abolished restrictive covenants in Chicago. He also co-founded the National Bar Association and the Cook County Bar Association. His granddaughter, Jewel LaFontant, is the first woman to graduate from the University of Chicago Law School. the first female Deputy Solicitor General of the United States, and was considered by President Nixon as a possible nominee to the Supreme Court. Her son, John Rogers Jr., is the founder and CEO of Chicago-based Ariel Capital Management, the first and the largest minority-run mutual fund managing assets of more than $15 billion. He also sits on several corporate boards. Knowing
Our roots, where we came from, strengthen us and gives us a course of possibility.
The Greenwood District was rebuilt, hitting its peak in the 1940s. But many still don't know about the Tulsa Race Massacre, which historians say is by far the largest single incident of racial violence in American history. Recently, a Centennial Commission was created to promote educational awareness and revitalization of the Greenwood District. Hannibal Johnson, who has written 3 subjects on Black Wall Street, is a member.
History is not simply something that occurred in the past. History is part of who and what we are today. So what are the lessons that we can take from this particular history and confront the challenges that we face in the modern era?
Tanya Francisco, WGN News.